Welcome back to Bird of a Feather. Get this off. What I'm doing today is making what we used to call cloches, but they call them hoop houses now. But this is just a small one. This is just to get some radishes going. And I worked the soil up a little bit the other day, and so I'm going to get it wet and work it up some more. Got all the weeds and what have you out. And I'm going to work this water in. And what I'm going to do is put a plastic over the top of this and let the sun, since we're going to have some sun the next few days. We're supposed to be in tomorrow is going to be 61, and then I think 62 on Friday, and back down into the 50s on the weekend. And I believe Monday we're supposed to get some rain, and it'll be about 47, 45. And then Tuesday and Wednesday supposed to be in the upper 40s, like 47, 48, close to 50. And it probably will reach 50 here. And then we're supposed to get some snow, I believe Thursday or Friday. But it's not supposed to be very much, just a couple of inches, they said, which could be more than that. This is Central Oregon. And the weather here is unpredictable, as we spoke before about it. And so I'm hoping that putting some water on this and then putting the plastic over it will help heat the ground and heat the soil up, so that by the mid-March, end of March, I'm going to start planting radishes. I'm the only one in the house that eats them. I'm the only one that likes them. And yet these kids like habanero hot peppers, but they don't like radishes.
The radishes sting on your tongue and they just stay there.
And the habaneros don't.
The habaneros at least taste good.
So, still working weeds out. The soil here in Central Oregon is volcanic soil. We actually have a mountain here that has been for several years seismic activity on it, and but nothing substantial, nothing like St. Helens, which is not that far from here. Got a lot of ash from St. Helens when she blew. It was pretty bad. And at the time I was living in Roseburg, and we had ash there as well. So anyway, the soil here is very poor. So you're constantly having to put compost and fertilizer. So this is rabbit manure and chicken manure. It's old chicken manure that's been sitting around for a while. And I'll rototill that in this spring as soon as the ground's a little bit warmer. Here's my peacock over there, looking to get into trouble.
Big trouble.
Anyway, so I'm gonna get this pretty wet. The soil here, it dries out very quickly. If you remember, it was what, a week ago we had snow, and you'd think the ground would still be wet from the snow, but this ground's very porous. so it soaks in. We have, let me find one. This is volcanic rock. I don't know if you can see the holes in it or not.
You can.
But this is all volcanic rock. And there's tons and tons of rock. Where the peacock is at right now, there are tons of rocks there. Constantly picking up rocks. And they trip me. They'll come popping up out of the ground and trip me and watch me fall down, and then they'll sit there and laugh at me, thinking it's funny. Because they tripped me, Mr. Peacock. So what I did is I just put 3 in, and I hooked them to this rebar. And you can get this rebar, I got this at Home Depot, and this is 12-inch, and they have it in different diameters and in different lengths. And I got one that was the size of my pipe that I was using so that it wouldn't be blowing off, because the wind here is horrendous. So I'm going to open this bag up, finish opening it up, and pull out the plastic. Now this is clear plastic. It's for like windows, I think. So I'm not sure how strong it's going to be, but I'm hoping it's strong enough. So it's 10 or 25, and it's 3.5 mil, I'm sorry. And it is 10 feet by 25 feet. Well, I don't need 25 feet for this, or 10 feet, but anyway. I'm going to open this up, and I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be more than enough. And I'll have to put hollow stone block and rocks on it to keep the wind from blowing it. So I need it to overlap onto the ground a little bit.
It is.
And I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be more than long enough and more than wide enough. If you look close, I have this covered because the deer want to come in here and eat asparagus. Now this is asparagus. This is from last year. Those are just youngins yet. They're not that old. So, and eventually I plan on fencing this here so that the deer can't come in here. So I want to put my raspberries over there where that beam is that's on the ground, and I'm going to put them on a trellis, and I'm just going to use the wire that I've been wiring my animals in with to string them up on. And water these a little bit too. Pretty sure they're dry. This is where our greenhouse used to be before the snow destroyed it. Caved it in. Sounds like I don't like the snow. Kind of, sort of.
You keep finding dry, deserty places for us to live. You don't like the snow.
No, not a whole lot. I'm not a big fan of it. Never have been a big fan of snow. But I've always lived where there's snow, so I guess I should be a fan of it, but I'm not. I don't ski. It's cold. It gets you wet. Makes your hands get cold. I logged for a lot of years. Setting chokers, chasing fallen trees, and doing reforestation. And I had to work in the snow. So I guess that maybe that's why I'm not too much of a fan of it. Came home one time and it had been snowing. It was on a unit we were setting chokers on, and
Mama, please don't come near me.
And I got cold, clear to the bone. I mean, I was just frozen, clear to the bone. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of snow. And that's Momiji. It's Mandarin for what?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
No, it's just we named our cat after the Avatar.
Anyway,
The Avatar's pet.
when she was a kitten, my daughter had bought a brand new couch, and so she had it covered. And it's a little short on this side, so I'll turn it around. And so my daughter had it covered, and she didn't want the animals on it. So this one jumps on the couch, on the arm of the couch, and my daughter was sitting there, and my daughter pushed her off. Just the cat turned around and looked at her and gave her the snide look. And so then she looked at my daughter and jumped up on the couch again. And my daughter pushed her off again. And she looked at my daughter and like, how dare you do that? And so she jumps up there again, a third time. So my daughter pushed her off a third time. She turns around, looks at my daughter, and she goes, "Meow, meow, 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 meow." I laughed so hard, it's like, you just got chewed out. It was funny. So I'm going to turn this around, because I got too much on this side, and not enough on this side. I'm putting that on there because the wind will blow this off. And I'm not saying it won't still blow it off. It'll blow whatever. So put a big old tire over here on this. There. And then put one of these nasty rocks there. We have some big slab of rock, like this rock here. I'm not sure how far down that goes. Haven't a clue. But I have some way out back. I can't zoom. That is probably 50 feet by 30 feet, and I have no clue how deep it goes, but it's one big slab of rock. Try to pound post, the T-post in the ground, got them in there, maybe that far, and they just stood there and bounced on that rock. So we had to put rock cribs across the back to put our fence up. I don't know if you know, I'm pretty sure most everybody that's done farming or homesteading or ranching or whatever, who knows about rock cribs. There's just some ground around here in this country you just can't drive a post in. I lived over on the eastern part of Oregon, and we had what was called hard pan, and you could dig down about 4 feet, and then you hit this hard pan. And when it would snow over there, one year it snowed, and it gets pretty deep, like 4, 5 feet, 6 feet of snow. Well, we had a warm rain, and it flooded that whole valley because there was no place for the water to go. We had 4 feet of ground, and then the rest was hard pan, and that was it. The water just sat on the top. It took forever for it to go away. It finally drained out, drained down the roads. So yeah, this country has its good and bad. rocks on my compost pile. Here on that. I'll kind of keep it from blowing. I think we'll get another one. These are some pretty good sized rocks. You can see all the holes where we have some caves around here, some what they call tubes, I think, and they have one that has holes in the top that's got sunlight comes through. And there's only certain times of the year that you can go in those because of the bats, mating time, and they're having their little babies. I try to put this here like this so that it would kind of keep it separated, but I don't think that twine worked very well. I'll have to figure something else out. Maybe get a board and screw some boards in across the top there so that it'll stay at the width I want it. So I think that's what I'll do, is get a 1x and put in the bottom here, and then put some screws here at the top to hold that at the distance that I want. But that should cause some heat in there, warm that soil up, and I'll check the soil every day to see how well it's warming. So I've had to put a lot of compost in here, a lot of chicken manure, rabbit manure. I even brought in and purchased some soil for this because this ground is really bad. I mean, grows junipers beautifully, and sage, and tumbleweeds. Grows them fantastically, really well. Juniper, everybody knows that a juniper is part of a cedar family. And, the birds like to come in and eat the berries. They eat the berries all winter long and make a mess. Leave a mess on my porch, on my car, on the truck. Yeah, but it gives them something to eat. So I'm hoping that this is going to heat up enough that I can get my radishes in at least by the mid-March, maybe end of March. And the peas, I'm going to plant some peas, I think, towards the middle of April, because peas can take the cold, and they do like cold weather. They're not a fan of hot weather. They don't do well in hot weather whatsoever. So I will work this ground here all up and plant peas in here. We're also going to build a few more raised beds to put more vegetables in. Of course, some of the vegetables are going to be inside the greenhouse, like the tomatoes, definitely. They'll be in the greenhouse due to the fact that they do much better in there, because the nights here get down below 50. They gets around 47, 48 degrees at night here during the summer. And then we have these times that it will snow. So I would like to keep my tomatoes inside the greenhouse, and that way, instead of having fried green tomatoes all winter long, I'll have some regular tomatoes to eat and some tomatoes to can. And I used to put my peppers inside these tires, but this year I'm going to do something different with these tires. I have something totally planned differently for them. Dress them up and make them look good. That old bathtub over there, I'm going to plant a bunch of flowers in it. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to sit it, probably out there a little further. And then I think I'm going to drop that cedar tree there, or I'm sorry, juniper tree there, because during this time of the year, it puts in too much shade. It put shade in here this morning, and I think that big one there needs to be dropped. So I can get more of the sun here during the winter time, so I can do some, at least carrots and radishes and some beets during the late fall, before the ground starts freezing too hard. As long as the ground doesn't freeze really hard, they'll do all right. They're in the ground and they will do okay. The ground will insulate them. So this here is thyme. I planted a lot of thyme and I still don't have any thyme, if you get my gist. I try really hard to get things done. I've had trees fall on me a couple of winters ago and I'm still cleaning them up. I had the power company come in and drop a couple of trees, so I got those to clean up. I have some old wood that we tore down some stuff, and I have that I need to burn. And I don't burn here because it's so, this place is like a tinder box. It will, and it runs. I think some of the fires we had last summer started here and moved south. And I'm going to try to get a few more bushes in here. I'm going to get some more blueberries. I had a blueberry here, but the deer ate it. And I had wire and stuff around it, but they found a way to move the wire and everything and got into it. That bed there had strawberries in it. We had wire over the top of them, and the deer smashed the wire down and ate between the wire and ate the strawberries. I think there's one plant out there still. And so I'm going to put a bunch of new ones in there and put a big wire cage around it so they can't get in there.
I think we're going to have to stop recording because of those.
Okay, well, thanks for stopping by. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment. I don't care what kind of a comment, good, bad. Ask questions. You can give me advice. I really don't care. And like my granddad would tell me. Actually, my dad told me what my grandpa would tell me. And this is just a little bit of food for thought. A man with many keys has many worries. So I'm going to leave you with that and with the yapping dog.